We're gonna. I'm looking for the Nancy Martinez.
I have it right there on the bottom. It's on the. I just put them on the group chat for ISUPK Mexico.
Okay, we'll do that one. Okay, let me.
You want the one with the audio of her saying what she said about the
Yeah, we can do that. Let me get into the show real quick.
motherfucker, really?
We live, baby. We live. All right, all right. Hey, shalom, y'all. Bashim Shabakata. To all the brothers and sisters out there, welcome to the show, La Neta. You know, it's our Monday show. Every Monday, ISUPK presents. ISUPK Mexico is right here, La Pura Neta. We come out here every Monday, right? To transmit and to let everybody know what's going on in the Latino community, la gente raza, la raza latina, disculpen, la raza latina, aquí mero mero, ISUPK México, dándole información sobre lo que está pasando en todo aquí el norte de California, sur de California y todo lo que es Estados Unidos, o sea, tierra, ¿cómo se dice? Ocupada, ¿verdad? Estas nuestras tierras y están ocupadas. El sueño americano es la pesadilla mexicana o de Latinoamérica. Estamos viendo un cambio en lo que es Latinoamérica y lo que está pasando, pues nosotros también tenemos que estar involucrados o tenemos que tener parte en el cambio que está pasando. Y por eso creamos este programa, La Neta, para poder hablar de las cosas que nos están sucediendo a nosotros los latinos. Y claro, usamos términos bíblicos y lo que queremos es que participen, que tengan parte en esto, porque no nomás le afecta a México, escuchen muy bien, también nos afecta a nosotros aquí en los Estados Unidos, porque todos nosotros, la raza mexicana, tenemos familiares que viven en México. Tenemos familiares que viven en El Salvador, en Guatemala, en Honduras, en todo lo que es Latinoamérica, hasta Sudamérica, ¿verdad? Lo que es Venezuela, lo que es Uruguay, lo que es Perú, ¿verdad? Otros países, ¿verdad? También eso nos importa a nosotros porque tenemos seres queridos que también ellos radican en estos lugares todavía. O sea, nosotros cuando la gente latina de Estados Unidos, cuando se llegan los días de ir a visitar a los familiares, nosotros vamos para México, nosotros vamos para Latinoamérica, para Sudamérica, para Centroamérica, porque allí es donde están nuestros seres queridos, nuestros familiares, y son generaciones que han existido en estos lugares, ya seas de Michoacán, de no sé qué, ¿verdad? De Veracruz, seas de Zacatecas o Mexicali, ¿verdad? O Tijuana, o Michoacán, no importa dónde seas, ¿verdad? O El Salvador, o Guatemala, o Honduras, no importa dónde seas, tú tienes alguien que corresponde a tu familia y cuando se llegan los tiempos de visitarlos, pues nosotros acudimos a Latinoamérica a visitar a nuestros parientes. Así que también lo que está sucediendo en Latinoamérica para nosotros también nos afecta y así como nos afecta aquí en Estados Unidos, también les debe de afectar a nuestros seres queridos en Latinoamérica lo que nos sucede así. Pues ¿sabes por qué? Porque tenemos una conexión profunda. Lo que está pasando en Latinoamérica también nos pasa a nosotros, porque si algo le está pasando a mi gente, a mi raza, a mis familiares en México, entonces yo no estoy tranquilo. Si hay un temblor, yo no estoy tranquilo, hay que llamar, hay que saber qué está pasando, cómo está la familia, cómo están los primos, cómo están los primas, los tíos, la abuela, ¿verdad? Siempre tenemos que mandar correspondencia, a ver cómo están. Nosotros también aquí en Estados Unidos, aunque no lo crean, mucha gente tiene un punto de vista erróneo, donde nosotros mandamos dinero a nuestros familiares en Latinoamérica, en lo que sea El Salvador, Guatemala, México. Nosotros tenemos casas, nosotros tenemos negocios, nosotros tenemos cosas que tenemos allá porque tenemos una conexión profunda con nuestra gente de Latinoamérica. Así que no se dejen pasar de que no, por la gente en Estados Unidos se creen gabachos, se creen esto. No, eso no es cierto. Nosotros de todos modos, nuestro corazón está en Latinoamérica, ya sea de El Salvador. Aquí en Estados Unidos Hay mucha gente de Centroamérica, especialmente de El Salvador, que ahorita están muy felices con lo que está pasando en El Salvador, con el cambio que ha habido con el régimen de este presidente, que ahora ha acabado con las pandillas que una vez destruían a El Salvador. Y la gente de Guatemala ahora acude a El Salvador porque están felices que ahora pueden ir a un país que está tranquilo. Y también vemos que los presidentes en diferentes partes de Sudamérica están hablando sobre los problemas de que Estados Unidos ha estado causando en sus países, y ahora están hablando, ahora están despertando a la realidad que el sueño americano, la democracia que ellos hablaban, en verdad era una destrucción para nuestros países. Y aquí en Estados Unidos, nosotros la gente latina estamos dándonos cuenta que aquí, vivir aquí, pues este es nuestro lugar, ¿verdad? Son nuestras tierras para empezar, ¿verdad? Estas son nuestras tierras históricamente robadas por esta gente. Pero nosotros venimos a vivir aquí y aquí estamos. Pero les voy a decir que nosotros damos todo el apoyo a nuestra gente mexicana. Nosotros no somos de esas personas que digas tú, oh, no, pues no nos quieren allá, nos dicen mojados, nos llaman esto, y a inmigrantes. Nosotros no pensamos que son inmigrantes. Nosotros sabemos que son parte de nuestra raza, parte de nuestra familia. Así que no importa en qué lado de la frontera estés en Latinoamérica, México para allá, o estés aquí en el norte de México, el norte de México es Norteamérica. Nosotros somos las mismas personas y tenemos que hablar sobre los problemas que están ocurriendo en todos nuestros lugares, ¿verdad? Así que te invitamos todos los lunes a este programa, La Neta, porque aquí vamos a hablar de costa a costa, de país a país, de personas y de gente y de nuestras familias. Y con eso presentamos al oficial Barraca Ayala, que está con nosotros, y también presentamos al otro oficial, Malakma 500, que estamos aquí hoy, ¿verdad? Con ustedes.
No, gracias.
Gracias. Coge, Malakma.
Pues aquí estamos otra noche aquí, Israel, ¿verdad? A enseñarles lo que está pasando con nuestra gente, ¿verdad? Ahorita estamos en el tiempo del mes, ¿verdad? Que hoy es el día en los Estados Unidos es el día de Christopher Colón, y cambiaron el nombre de ese día al Día de la Gente Indígena, ¿verdad? Y también, ¿verdad? Estamos en el mes de octubre, que significa, ¿verdad? El día de Halloween. Y ya estamos que nuestra raza, ¿verdad? Está en el espíritu de esos 2 días, ¿verdad? Festivas del opresor. Yo voy a empezar para decir esto. El día de la gente indígena, ¿verdad? Como dicen hoy, eso es un insulto para nuestra raza. Es un insulto porque ¿cómo van a... Este opresor no podía darnos otro día? Tenía que ser este día. Pues yo voy a decir una cosa. Cambiando, ¿verdad? El nombre no significa nada. Todavía si celebras hoy, estás celebrando Christopher Colón hasta que le llaman el Día de la Gente Indígena. Porque eso es lo que hizo los Estados Unidos, lo que hizo este opresor, es un insulto, ¿verdad? Es cuando alguien cambia el nombre de su día de cumpleaños, ¿verdad? Lo voy a hacer en inglés. It's like basically you're changing the name from, Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. It's no different than changing your birthday to Born Day. That's all they did. Es todo lo que hicieron. Te lavaron ¿cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice? El cerebro, hermano. Pero cuando te echan mentira, ¿qué es otro termo que para decir que te echaron una mentira? Te lavaron
el coco.
Te lavaron el coco. Es lo que hicieron, ¿verdad? Es lo que hizo los Estados Unidos. Y nuestra raza, ¿verdad? Porque estamos destruidos en la mente, lo aceptamos. Lo aceptamos, estamos contentos. Yo miro a la gente diciendo feliz día de gente indígena. ¿En qué tenemos que tener feliz? Lo que mira, si no oyeron lo que pasó unos días anterior, que mataron a un pobre hermano, ¿verdad? Comiendo su comida ahí no sé, estacionado en un McDonald's, ¿verdad? La policía vino y lo mataron. ¿Verdad? Y ahorita, ¿verdad? Muchas de nuestra gente, ¿verdad? Nuestras hermanas están, ¿verdad? Desaparecidos, ¿verdad? Las han secuestrado y todo. Y no sabemos dónde andan. Y muchas veces, ¿verdad? Se enseñan, ¿verdad? Que están muertas, ¿verdad? Aquí en California, en el norte de California, ¿verdad? o en centro de Salak, ya hermano, es en el centro de California, donde está pasando eso, ¿verdad? Con el asesino que está ahí, que está matando a varias gente latina.
O en el norte de California, Sacramento, es donde está escuchando.
¿Verdad?
Yeah.
Yo digo que es algo de racismo, ¿verdad? Porque todas las víctimas son latinos, son mexicanos,
Claro.
¿verdad? So, todo eso está pasando y todavía queremos decir feliz día de gente indígena. No hay nada que estar feliz ahorita, raza, cuando todo esto está pasando a nuestra gente. Pero ahora le voy a dar el piso, ¿verdad? A mi carnal aquí, oficial Boraki Ala. Dale, carnal.
Go ahead, Barack Yalla. Oh, do we got a mic? Give me 1 second. Let me see. Vamos a ver. You're on. Dale.
Hey, throughout all the one, like I said, episode 500, Barack Yala. Y'all watch me show thumb to all the brothers. Y'all watch my thumb, watch me over to all the sisters, you understand? And just like Officer Malakma said, I know we have this so-called Indigenous Peoples Day, and it is a disgusting celebration, you understand? I want to change it from Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. This is just an insult. It's spit in our face. And as a matter of fact, I'm in Canada right now, and today is actually Thanksgiving. The oppressor right now is celebrating the genocide of our Gadite brothers and sisters. You understand? Not only that, during Thanksgiving, because our people, we're a hard-headed people, right? We still don't want to listen to the Most High, not understanding that it comes with consequence. One of these consequences is that 2 separate shootings happened yesterday in my city, and one had an actual casualty. You understand? One of these shootings took a life of a brother during Thanksgiving. Now, this should be a wake-up call to all brothers and sisters who are celebrating Thanksgiving today in Canada. We're about to celebrate Halloween in a couple of weeks, Christmas, whatever the case is. You understand? Because while they were getting ready for Thanksgiving with the turkey and everything, we were opening the Feast of Tabernacles. We are actually, you understand, celebrating our feast, our culture, our high holy day. You understand? Not the so-called holiday of the oppressor, which only brings death and destruction to our community.
Gone, absolutely, absolutely. And go ahead, Barack, if you had something else to say before I jump in.
Salaki, I'm gonna let you go, Arwan. Go ahead, Arwan.
Okay, Khan. Okay, so man, going right into it, of course, we're here at the water. Everybody for joining in and stepping in. As you know, it's what is it? Indigenous. What'd you say?
Right. Indigenous Peoples Day.
Indigenous Peoples Day. Once again, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I know a lot of people have heard this. I heard this because I got a lot of friends in the world. So I always see them sending messages. Hey, using my real name. Hey, Kazak, come celebrate, this Thanksgiving, because it's coming around the corner and I'm already getting these invitations. And come celebrate Thanksgiving. Now, they know I don't celebrate Thanksgiving because I tell them all the time. And they know how I am real heavy on history, especially Hispanic and Native Indian history. Like, I'm heavy in that. Like, I'm the type of person that will tell you why I don't celebrate. And so they just like this Indigenous Day. What is it? Native Indigenous Day, you say?
Indigenous Peoples Day.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
Right,
they got a new name. They call it Friendsgiving.
Good night.
I don't know. Yeah, I've heard that, Friendsgiving.
Khan, I've heard that one.
You heard that, right? So they got this thing called Friendsgiving now. They don't no longer call it Thanksgiving. They're calling it Friendsgiving. And so, I wasn't familiar with that about 2 years ago. So I had this brother tell me, and I was like, okay, but I only hang around Hispanic brothers. We're not even we don't even celebrate Thanksgiving, man. We call it kind of like Friendsgiving for friends who come over and celebrate the friendship. Okay, so I said, if I can, well, we're gonna go. We're gonna go to this Friendsgiving. I get there, Canada. They got turkey. They got mashed potatoes. They got the whole goddamn 10 yards of Thanksgiving feast. And I looked at it and I thought, oh man, what did I get myself into here? You know what I mean? Pumpkin pie, the whole thing. And I had to explain to them. I said, you know what? This is no different. This is the same. It's Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, and so what is that? Sweeter than butter, right? Because they got that Friendsgiving.
Right.
Yeah, they got that Friendsgiving from somewhere, and so since they don't want to call it Thanksgiving no more, they can't call it Columbus Day no more. They're giving it another name. But you know what? If the institution or if America has chosen to change the name to trick us into continue to celebrate these things, we should be aware of the trickery that comes with it. It's not, you know what? Every day is Indigenous People Day. If it's Indigenous People Day, give them back their country, give them back their land, give them back what's theirs. Really, you want to honor Indigenous people? Then go ahead and give them back what it was. One of the things I continually hear is, well, the Indigenous people now have the casinos. Man, what you don't understand is that those organizations have chosen certain people to become the leaders of some of the nations, and they're the ones making the decisions and getting the payoffs for the nation. Just the way they did when they took the land, they would go and choose some random Indian and say, you know what, you're going to represent your people. And then he would be the one to sign away the land, sign away his territory. And people would be like, well, who is that guy? How did he get the authority to be the voice for all the Indigenous people? And it was very simple, because our deceiver chose people who they could buy and told them, well, you're Indian, aren't you? Yeah. You're Native, aren't you? Yeah. Then you can represent the people. And that's the way they took a lot of the land. If you know the Indigenous people story and the taking of the land, you would understand that this is the way it happened. That what they did is they chose random people and said, you'll be the voice and the signature of all your people. And with this trickery, they took all their land. And they didn't have enough, because they kept taking more and more and more land. And then they went even further and took their children. And then they went even further and took their pride, took their language, took their culture, took everything from them. And it all started with the simple person who made a change and made it sound like it was something good. It's never something good. Whether you're going to celebrate this Friendsgiving, whether you're going to celebrate this Native Indigenous People Day, whatever it is that's going to be added in order to take more of what's yours, that's what they're going to do. And what they're really taking, when you really think about it, what they're really taking, they're really sneaking in and taking what is your standard of what you stand by. If I say I love my people, I should not allow anything to come between that and what I really want to do for my people. Not because they changed the name of something am I going to risk losing that feeling that I have for helping my people because of a simple word that's going to be like, oh, you know what? Well, let's change it. You know what I mean? That can't happen. We have to stand our ground, and we got to make sure that what we say stays, no matter what they're going to change it to. Thanksgiving will always be the same. It's a day they all celebrate, and they all honor the conquering of this nation, of our Indigenous people's nation. And that's what it really is. That's what it really boils down to. And all they're doing is changing the name so that it can be accepted. Because let me tell you something, the reason why they're calling it Indigenous People Day is because enough people cared enough to say, man, we ain't going to celebrate Columbus no more. If they change it to Friendsgiving, is because enough people said, man, we ain't going to celebrate Thanksgiving no more. And in this manner, they say, well, wait a minute, that's going to affect our financial situation in the corporate world, where Thanksgiving is a major holiday where we make millions of dollars selling mass turkey, selling mass pumpkin pie, selling mass ham, right? Selling decorations. And so they have to adjust to the change that people are making. And since they have to adjust, they have to quickly come up with some sort of scheme where you will continue to fall into that, into America's corporate monetary way of causing a celebration that you become a pawn to what they're doing.
Right.
Y'all feel what I'm saying? Go ahead, Malagma.
Nah, Salaki, I don't want. Like, I was just gonna say this. Like it's like I said it in Spanish. I said it in English. You could have had any other day to make if this oppressor had any ounce of compassion, right? If our people were really, had that zeal for their raza, right, for their indigenous First Nation brothers and sisters, right? First off, you wouldn't even accept today. You know what I mean? You would be like, why in the hell are you making this day on Columbus's day?
Right.
Well, why don't you do away with Christopher Columbus Day? Along with taking down all the statues, do away with his holiday and give me my Indigenous People Day on any other day but this day. You know what I mean? That's the mockery. That's the disrespect. And our people, man, we're so used to being slaves, man, that we're happy with the crumbs that this oppressor gives us. You
Right.
think he gives you Indigenous Peoples Day, you think then all of a sudden it's all good. All of a sudden these oppressors, oh well, now there's some good white people. We can't hate them all. We can't demand justice. They gave us Indigenous Peoples Day. It's a start. It's like, man, come on now, get real. Like they just insulted you, and you just sit there and take it. Meanwhile, I tell you you're an Israelite, you come at me like I'm the worst. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's just it's crazy because it shows how destroyed we are, man. That beaten down spirit that you're gonna be happy with getting a damn holiday from America. That what do we get? Like what's our people get out of this? For Rasa, do our kids get free from those cages in honor of Indigenous People Day?
Right.
Do our First Nation brothers and sisters do they get to move in to an Edomite's house, you know what I mean, and get running water and electricity, you know what I mean? Does the reservation all of a sudden get running water sent to it? Do they get their land back? No, we can get none of those things. You know what I mean? But that's how destroyed we are because we think that little bit of recognition is doing something for us when it doesn't do anything. It keeps us asleep. That's all of America's main tactic right there. In giving us that holiday, we go back to sleep. It's like what was it when the whole George Floyd protests were going on? I forgot what went on after, but when Biden won the presidency, now everybody went back to sleep. You know what I mean? For 1 second, people were awake and noticing that like how evil this oppressor is, and then they give you a little crumb and how it's all good. That's the problem with us, and that's why we're hated here in the ISUPK because we shake that reality. We shake your reality, black man and brown man. We let you know that all of it is BS. That you should really, separate your spirit and not accept anything this oppressor gives you. You know what I mean? You'll get mad at me because I'll tell you Indigenous Peoples Day is BS. You'll get mad at me because I'll tell you that you gotta stop hating that black man. You gotta stop hating that brown man and stop loving the white man and that white woman, especially for my black and brown brothers, man. Once I tell you you gotta stop loving that white woman, now it's a problem. Now you get mad at
Right.
us. Meanwhile, look at the suffering that your people go through, man. I tell you to stop loving that white woman so that you can show that brown woman some love. You know what I mean? She needs your love, black man and brown man. And then black and brown woman, when I tell you to not get with that white man, because you know what I mean? The same reason that black and brown man needs your love. You know what I mean? Have y'all not learned anything? What are we in the what's that very popular TV show on Netflix right now, right? The Dahmer series. How
Right,
many
right, right.
how many documentaries are there about serial killers? I'm sure we're all aware they all got something in common. You know what I mean? And that's that they're all colonizers. They're all oppressors. You know what I mean? I saw a very heavy post that said, if you're shocked about Jeffrey Dahmer, wait till you learn about Christopher Columbus. Because
Right.
before what Jeffrey Dahmer and Wayne Gacy represent is the spirit of these oppressors back during the time of segregation, back during the time of colonization, back how they were in the missions. You know what I mean? That whole murdering and raping, that's their nature. That's just that's them, their full embodiment of themselves coming out. That's Esau being Esau. You know what I mean? Because he's got no humanity in him. He's got 0 ounce of compassion. He's just, he's all about fulfilling his lusts and acting like an animal. You know what I mean? And if you think I'm wrong for what I'm saying, I mean, just look at the history. How did this country get founded? Y'all think it was a fair and square battle where the colonizers just came over here and there was the cavalry was just heads up with the Gadites? Nah, man. Like they cheated their way. They pitted tribes against one another. They sent these. You know what I mean? They acted like they wanted peace and made peace treaties, and then when nobody was looking, paying attention, they stabbed him in the back. That's why you got that precept in Psalms, as the Adawan was was about to bring out, where the words out of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You know what I mean? Because they talk about they want peace, they talk about they love everybody, but their actions speak differently. You know what I mean? But Salak, I'll pass the floor to the next priest.
Go on, Barack Ayala.
Hey, Salak, y'all. What Officer Malak brought up is heavy still, because I will tell you, you're an Israelite. I will try to give you back your culture. You understand? I will try to bring you back home. But you're gonna hate me for that. You're gonna hate me because I'm trying to have you be. I'm trying to prevent death for you. You understand?
Right.
I'm trying to save you from death. You understand? Like what we're doing right here, we're not just waking up brothers. We're giving them life. You understand? Because just like I said at the beginning, today in Canada is Thanksgiving. It's not just Indigenous Peoples Day. It is Thanksgiving today. The oppressor is celebrating the genocide of our Native American brothers and sisters. You understand? And what happens is some brothers who are celebrating Thanksgiving, they got a plate of bullets. Salakia.
Dang.
You understand? While these brothers are following after the oppressor's culture, right when we were about probably 10 to 15 minutes about to open the Feast of Tabernacles, I go on the balcony. I just hear like a couple shots banging out. You understand? Shots were ringing last night. Next thing you know, ambulance is coming and everything. If I may, I don't want to just read this article real quick. One of these articles real quick.
Go ahead.
Officer Malakma, you could pull them up if you can. They're in the Mexico chat.
Con, all right.
Right. I'm going to start with the one in Montreal North, which is Office 1000 Adiyar Zone. You understand? Also nicknamed the Dirty North because of all the violence over there and the drugs being distributed over there as well. You understand? So shooting in Montreal North leaves man injured. Montreal police are investigating after a man was shot in Montreal North yesterday. Officers say a 911 call was placed at 7:20 p.m. about a person injured by gunshots in front of an apartment building on La Pierre Avenue near Pascal Street. Now, for those who don't know, La Pierre Pascal is the hot zone of Montreal North. This is where you get shot. You understand? This is where drive-by happens all the time, right? This is nothing uncommon over there. But it is a coincidence that it had to happen on Thanksgiving night while they were gathering, eating turkeys, or I don't know about no Thanksgiving. I never celebrated that, to be honest. But whatever they were eating, gathering with their family and everything, ignorantly celebrating the murder of our brothers and sisters. You understand? Who are still stuck on reservations.
Salakia, Rakia, just real quick, you say you sent me the link.
Salakia, it's in the UPK Mexico chat.
Con, you just sent it right now, priest.
It's already there.
Yeah, it was up earlier.
Oh, okay, okay. Shooting in Montreal leaves man injured. That's the one.
That's the one I'm on right now.
Con, all right, I'm about to pull it up right now, priest.
Salakia.
All right.
So now, right before Feast of Tabernacles, me and Office 1000 Adiyar, 1000 Zabaja, and we're 500 Sharia 1, we went on the block. We were doing a little investigation, you understand, see what happened. Come to find out, a drive-by happened. People just rolled up on the block and started shooting. You understand? Not like I said, nothing uncommon. But then again, it had to happen on Thanksgiving night.
Right.
And we're gonna
Right.
tell you, stop celebrating, stop following after the heathens, because it's gonna bring you death and destruction. That's what it brings to our community. Next thing you know, a man just got shot last night. You
Right.
understand? Drugs is still being sold. Your cousins, your uncles, your aunties, they're on drugs, smoking crack, destroying their life.
Right.
Why? Because you decide you want to be a gangster, you want to be a blood, you want to be a crip. You understand? Which also absolutely make no sense for multiple reasons. First of all, gangsterism is the culture of the oppressor.
Right.
Second, all these Levites over there calling themselves blooded Crips kill himself over a flag, a color. The Haitian flag is both red and blue. You
Right.
understand? And third, like this is Cali business. You understand? Let these Haitians go in Cali talking about I'm a blood and I'm a Crip, see what happens. I'm not promoting no gangsters and whatever the case is, but you get my point, the bottom line. We're just following after something that we don't belong here. We don't belong in them things. You understand? And Salakia, if we could pull up the article real quick.
Yeah, I got it here on the screen now. What's the other one?
The other one should be right under it,
Con, I got you.
right? So now, after the Feast of Tabernacle, what we're doing, we went back to my place. I live like 30 minutes away on the west side, Benjamite spot. You understand? Mostly Benjamites. Next thing you know, there was another shooting right on my block now, literally 2 minutes away from where I live. But this time, the brother died. You understand? Like I said, it's a coincidence because that night people are celebrating Thanksgiving. Next thing you know, brothers are dropping like flies.
Right.
They're not getting no turkey on their plate. They're getting lead.
Right.
And they're getting lead to the head. That's Wagwan right now. Right? So I'm gonna start reading the article real quick. Police launch homicide investigation after man 51 found dead in NDG. Now, just a little background. NDG stands for Notre Dame de Grâce in French, which is in English, Our Lady of Grace, right? But really, over the years, people just call it No Damn Good.
Damn.
Right. Like you can imagine whatever happens in this neighborhood. You're gonna say these Benjamite, these niggas over there, they're always up to no damn good. You understand? My street literally was the worst street of the city at some point. Right? So now, Montreal police say the death of a 51-year-old man in the city's Notre Dame de Grâce neighborhood early Monday morning is being investigated as a homicide. Police received a 911 call after midnight for a man in cardiac arrest and responded to an apartment building near the intersection of Montclair and Fielding Avenues. Upon arrival, officers found traces of violence on the man's lifeless body in a basement. A police spokesperson said he was pronounced dead at the scene a short time after. Right? So like the incident was initially considered a suspicious death, but police said in an update Monday afternoon that it was being treated as a homicide. Now, they said they didn't know if if it was an accident or something like that at first, you understand? Two tools come to find out that the man was actually shot dead. In that so-called apartment basement they're talking about, it's really just a gambling spot on the block, to be honest. You understand? All the hotheads from the block, they all go there. Police knows what's going on the block. You understand? They know where the trap is. They know where the gambling spot is. You understand? But they let everything happen until they need to pick up a body. Until you understand? Until they need to see something or pick up a body in some shell casing, you won't see police over there anymore. You understand? The neighborhood is not as hot as it was before, but Whenever something happens, police don't just come around here. They don't patrol the neighborhood anymore. Only if they're calling something happens. The thing is that stuff like that is gonna get worse. It's gonna keep on happening. It's gonna get worse. The reason why is because we still disobey to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Because when officers like Officer 5000 Kazakia, Officer 500 Malakma, even myself, Officer 500 Barak Yala, hand you a flyer, decide to throw it away. That's where things like that happen. Because I'm gonna just paraphrase Hosea 4 and 6. You understand? Our people is destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because they reject the knowledge. How to stop celebrating Thanksgiving? You tell me, yeah, I'm just here for the food. We're gonna tell that to the Native American Indians still stuck on reservation, with barely food to eat, with not one drop of clean water, talking about I'm just celebrating your genocide for the food.
Right.
It's like I'm murdering one side of your family, all your cousins and everything.
Right.
And I'm celebrating the genocide of my cousins. That's literally what's going on right now. In Canada, it's Thanksgiving. I know in the States there's a different day, but in Canada right now it's Thanksgiving. We're celebrating the genocide of our cousins, our brothers and sisters. You understand? And just like Officer 500 Malakma said, the white man is such a goddamn devil. Talking about celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, before being elected, said he would provide clean water to the reservations. That was 7 years ago. And still not one drop of clean water, not one bottle of water has been handed to the Native Indians on the reservations in Canada.
Good night.
You understand?
Right.
I'm gonna leave it at that one.
And you know what? You see that everywhere. You know, and the problem is that we don't understand that, you know, as we continue to celebrate, we fall deeper and deeper into the garbage that's been passed down to us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's the truth. You know, you're talking about, you know, the killings right there in your neighborhood, right? What happened in your neighborhood, but that is the same in all neighborhoods, man. That's the same thing you see in all Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian neighborhoods, man. That's what we see continually. You know what I mean? That's going to continue as long as we continue to celebrate the holidays that this nation has passed on. Because you got to think about it, man. All these holidays, man, they're not meant for us. They weren't meant for us. They were meant for them. They celebrate, man. You go to Thanksgiving, they're celebrating the destruction or their win, right, against the native Indian nations. That's what Thanksgiving is, the celebration that they're following through with, you know, because they succeeded in doing what they wanted to do. You know what I mean? When you think about the 4th of July, here's another celebration. They celebrate the winning of taking over this country. That's another celebration for them. And as you go on and you see all these celebrations that they have, you know, this is their victories, man. And we're celebrating their victories. You know what I mean? What's happening to our how could I? Oh, then not only do they celebrate their victories, but they celebrate also their tragedies. You know what I'm saying? 9/11. They celebrate their tragedies. Memorial Day, they celebrate their tragedies. You know what I mean? And they do these things, right? But when you try to celebrate your tragedy or something that happened to your people, you know, that's not happening. It goes against what they stand for. You know what I mean? And that's what it is, you know. See here, and I'm glad, you know, we have this show for people to participate. You know what I mean? And as you can see, we got people who participate ignorantly. You got a nation, America took this nation by lying, deceit, murder, rape. There is nothing good to that. 4th of July is garbage, along with all their other holidays. It's
damn
garbage.
right.
And you have to love, the only way you can love this garbage is if you're part of this garbage. If you American, then yeah, you should be celebrating these days. These are your days to celebrate because of that victory that you had, right? Actually, Britain wasn't even Britain's. That's another land that was conquered. Go ahead. We got brother in the house. You're not online, Kashawa?
I'm not on the
okay,
on the
go ahead,
camera,
Kashawa. Go ahead. Go
What
ahead.
I was gonna say before I even seen this comment, I was gonna say, 4th of July is when the so-called Americans, the new age, the new world Americans committed treason against their country.
Right.
Don't forget that that's how this country was established.
Right.
They committed treason. You know what happens to you if you commit treason today?
Right.
You get put to death now.
Right.
So that shows right there what kind of people they were.
Right. So those were traitors from Britain that came to America. Mm-hmm. Those people were considered traitors. Those people were considered people who went against their own people because they decided just, to change. They didn't want to do that. So the British nation is a treacherous nation. Man, they were the ones who bring slaves to America. The British ship was the corporation that bring the slaves to America. What do they call them today? Indentured servants. Right. Why do they call them indentured servants? Because they don't want to face the fact that what they did was an atrocity. Because if they start saying, yeah, they were slaves, and you got to cope with what's going to come with that term, slave. And that's because you did something, man, what do they call it today? Human rights violation? Man, that was beyond a human right violation. You know what I mean? And so when you begin to understand that, you begin to understand those British, the English, the Spaniard, the French, who else? There's a bunch. The Portuguese, absolutely. The Portuguese, these nations were all the same people. You may call them Britain, you may call it England, you may call it Spain, but at one point they were all the same people. They were all the same. There was no difference. They began to change their names in an effort to separate themselves. Man, they couldn't even stand each other, that they had to separate themselves. You know what I'm saying? So if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, what we're speaking of should make sense because your people went through these things. Your people were part of the murders that these people committed. Your people were being murdered on their behalf because what greed, right? The greed of wanting everything for themselves. Even today, think about how it doesn't make sense. They call themselves American. Oh no, we're American. America this, America that, America whatsoever. They even try to control that name because isn't it Latin America? Isn't it South America? Doesn't that make those people Americans too? Wouldn't it be one whole continent, Americas? But instead, they want to separate themselves. And with that separation, you should understand that if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, you do not fit into the agenda of being part of that culture. Go ahead, Kashawa.
I was going to say, and they couldn't stand each other and they were fighting against each other. That's how you have the 13 colonies. But what did they do? They came together because they realized they had one common enemy, which was the British crown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And this servant said that then a bunch of white people was the ones that freed slaves, but the brothers wouldn't even been slaves. We wouldn't even been slaves if it wasn't for the white people.
Listen, the white it was a bunch of white people that freed slaves. No, man, that wasn't what happened. You have to understand history. The pressure came upon them where they started to revolt. The Black people began to revolt. You got a Mexican president, Vicente Guerrero, who began to take Blacks, slaves, and free them into Mexico and abolish slavery in Mexico in an effort to help them. And then you got Mexican people turning against America because of slavery. What America does is when it begins to see the pressure of things, just like what we're speaking about today, the reason why they changed it to, Indigenous People Day, is because the pressure that indigenous people are putting on America to stop celebrating Columbus Day, to finally put an end to the lie of Columbus discovering America, a goddamn lie. And with that pressure, America realizes they have to change the agenda. How about, what else? Thanksgiving. They're trying to take away the name of Thanksgiving and make it Friendsgiving. Oh, now they want to make it Friendsgiving. But let me tell you something. We were never their friends because we were dying in the hands of America. So America is not friends to Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indians.
It's a
And
lie,
and
sir.
and just to answer this real quick for a servant of whatever, he says, so if my grandfather is 100% Native, I'm going to stop right there. Because if your grandfather is 100% Native on your father's side, then that makes you 100% Native. You cannot be white. White is a color of a goddamn t-shirt, of a piece of paper. There is no white. There is no black. Those are terms that they themselves have made on a piece of paper. When you go get a job, white, right? They used to say Caucasian, but now it says white. Why? Because they're changing the terminology, because that's the way America works. It works into changing terms so that you become confused. That's why they call blacks Africans, African Americans, Afro Americans, Negroes, right? Just all these terms they use to confuse people. That's why they call America the land of confusion. What is Babylon?
Right.
Confusion?
Right.
Babylon, that's what that word means. It's confusion. And this is exactly what it is. It's confusion. And that's what it is. Yeah, we would say Esau, the correct term for the right word for the nation. That's what we would say. Barak Ayala, you had something to say? Go ahead, Karnal Salakia.
No, I wouldn't Salakia. Servant, whatever his name is, right? Like you said, if his grandfather on his father's side is 100% native, he's talking about like we can't say nothing really to him about natives. If that's the case, were you celebrating Thanksgiving? Or if you're in Canada, I don't know if you're the States of Canada, regardless, but are you celebrating so-called Indigenous Peoples Day? What are you doing for the natives? What are you doing for our nation? You understand? You want to talk about 4th of July? We separated from the British. You understand? These are, I mean, we were still in chains during 4th of July. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you are celebrating in the first place. You understand? Natives were still being put on reservations on 4th of July. If you're a so-called native, what are you celebrating? Talking about we could celebrate 4th of July. I mean, I'm in Canada. Canada is still part of the British Empire in a way. We're part of the Commonwealth. You understand? All them Caribbean islands who were so-called got their independence from the British are still part of the Commonwealth. Ain't no such thing as independence. I think the only one was the US, but even then, it's like they're in the same house. You understand? They're in the Caucasian mansion. They just took one side of the house, they separate themselves in another room. You understand? That's pretty much what it is. They're oppressors regardless. All these oppressors are the same people, whether it's the Russian, the British, the French, Portuguese. You understand? The Americans are just British babies, just like the Australians or the so-called Caucasian South African. They're all the same oppressors. You understand? So I mean, I really don't know what he's talking about. Then he goes to say he's Catholic, right? His grandfather is at the reservation in Washington, but he's Christian too. Guess what? You should separate that. If it's your grandfather from your father's side, you understand? You need to give up the Catholicism. Tell your grandfather, give up the Christian church. Get a flyer. You say your your grandfather's in Washington, right? If you need, go on isupk.com. Look for the Washington number. We have a school in Washington. Look for the number for ISUPK reservation. I think it's Officer Karyaj, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Hey, and let me say something, Barak Ayala. You know, the reason why we're speaking out like this, because I know, you know what, when you hear people like us speak like that, to this generation, it's something completely new, and it's the natural thing to come against what we're saying. Man, this brother isn't the only person who comes against what we're saying. Like, we see it all the time. When we go out and speak, no matter where you're at, our own families come against us when we speak this way. But let me tell you something. The reason we speak this way is because of an awakening that's happening. And I can see that this brother because I think he's a brother, right? I'm gonna call him that. He obviously knows the Bible because he had made a comment about that God put us into slavery because we broke the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, so I kind of know that he's aware of the fact that we're slaves because of God. You absolutely right. But in that same context, that since God put us into slavery, then you should understand that Esau is the devil that the Bible speaks of in the Bible.
That's right.
And you should understand that the reason that the Lord is going to destroy America is because of the atrocities that Esau has committed on the children of the Most High, which is Israel, right? And so in that same book, you should understand that calling yourself a Catholic or calling yourself a Christian is against the Bible itself. Obviously, you have some understanding of the Bible, so you should understand that Catholic is the religion of Esau, and Christianity is also the religion of Esau, coming from Greek mythology, coming from the Greeks, coming from the times of Roman Catholic or the Roman era, right, during Christ's time, and they've implemented what you call the Catholicism or the Christianity. And you should know that we cannot be Christians. We cannot be Catholics. We are Israelites from blood because that's what our ancestors were. And if your father, as you said, your grandfather is Native Indian, well, Most High in Christ, because you're blessed with the blood of real kings, of real men, of those who are going to serve the Lord. If you know the Bible, then you should understand that in the book of Revelations, I'm going to go to the last book. I'm not even going to go into Old Testament or New Testament. I'll end it with the Bible's last book, the end of everything as you know it. And it says that in the kingdom, right, in heaven, there's going to be, 12 gates with 12 names of the 12 children of Israel on the top. So each door presents an entrance for each one of the tribes. And Gad, the Gadites, just so happen to be the Native American Indians. So if that's the truth and you understand this, we don't have to go into argument with this brother because he's a brother. And you know what? Let me tell you, on my show, I understand how ignorant our people are in these days. And it's not of our fault, but it's the generations that have passed being Catholic, being Christian, going to the Catholic celebrations, celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all these things. We have been born into deception. And not even from Esau, but from our own families who have been deceived. And we follow this. What we need to do in this awakening is destroy that chain of ignorance and teach our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, the truth, and become those soldiers that we once were. Man, we fought to the death. Because if you believe in the Bible, then you believe in, what is that? Not reincarnation, but
regeneration.
Regeneration, right? To regenerate. So we regenerate. Our spirits regenerate. If we speak like this, is because at one point we understood who we were. And the reason, what does the Bible say? You know them from their spirit. So if my spirit speaks like this, you can't tell me you white, because you know what? Let me tell you something. My spirit tells me that's a wicked person who did that to my people. And it comes out of me, Manasseh, to say, man, you know what? I cannot be part of those people because I understand the wickedness they have. And just to hear my history come out of my mouth from another brother who understands, that spirit comes out of him and says, you know what? You're absolutely right for what you're saying, man. And I can't argue with that. And real quick, I'll go into one of the doctors that I've been visiting for my an infirmity that my wife has. And there's a youngster there. He's not young, but he's like 30 something. And he questioned me on the Dodgers this week. Hey, Jess, man, you gonna watch the Dodgers game? Oh, brother, man, I don't watch Dodgers. He said, oh, you don't? He said, why, you a 49er fan? I said, brother, I am not and cannot be a sports fan, especially for Dodgers or 49s or any other, because the history that I understand forbids me to be a sports fan. And he told me, what kind of history? You mean that the Dodgers came from Brooklyn, New York? I said, no, brother, that the Dodgers robbed the land that was once indigenous Mexican territory and black territory. And I cannot side with anything that has to do with my people. With that, he right away connected with what I was saying. And his last words, I'm going to go through the whole conversation, but his last words were, man, we need to sit down and talk, brother, because, man, you are heavy with your history. He wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting that from him. But then that's when you know the spirit of certain people. Because when I speak to people, let me tell you, man, they understand that I know my Mexican, my Chicano, and my Latin American history. And when I speak, brother, man, people listen because they cannot deny the truth of what it really is. So even this brother here who comes in and talks, man, I understand you're going to come against us, but I say this, stick around. I say this, ask questions, man, challenge us, but challenge us in a manner where it becomes educational so that, okay, if you don't stick with me, it doesn't matter. But at least if you didn't know something, you're going to learn it, man. And man, let me tell you something, man, I'm an older cat. And all through my high school years, I was part of the Mecha. And I was part of all these other organizations that only taught me Chicano history. Man, I love my people, Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. And I speak because of the atrocities and what they're going through. And most importantly, because they live in a world that's full of lies and they've been deceived with who they really are. And our job is to break down this problem and bring you back to who you really are. So, Laki, go ahead, Malaki.
So like, so I was gonna say, you know, this brother. I mean, brother, like first off, that's why we don't go off of your appearance. We ask you who your father is, right? And that's in the book of Numbers, where you know a man is to declare his pedigree by the house of his father. So whatever your father is what you are. So I don't know what side. My question to you would be like, what side of your family is your Native American grandfather from? You know what I mean? It's from your first side or your mother's side. That's one. Two, you over here worrying about your white side of the family. I'm gonna say this: your white side of the family is living good. They're gonna be all right. We just telling the truth. We're telling the truth of what's going on. And if you care about your indigenous side, then you'd be, you know, that wouldn't bother you so much. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? To even call it hatred against white people, because I see him putting him or her putting, you know, about, I get the hatred against whites. The hatred against whites is not even, you know, how do I say, for lack of a better term, a hatred. It's a anger. It's a response to the hatred that whites give us. You know what I mean? What the white man has done to indigenous people, we're angry about it. The oppression that we do, that they do to us, is what we're angry about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just like, you know.
Salaki, let me say something real quick, and I'll let you continue, because I know he said, I don't want to hate my white family, or because he says his family's white. Let me tell you something. If you're a Native American Indian from your father's side all the way to your grandfather, let's say you are, you know, you say you don't want to hate your white family. This is more about on a sense of love more your people than your family. The Lord loves his people more than he loves, you know, he tells you, right? What does the Bible say? You know, if you love me, then you're gonna move away from your family. Right. You have to understand, who do you love more? Do you love the Lord, or do you love your family? Your family is gonna, you know, let's say your family's wicked, they're gonna go to hell, and you're gonna follow them right into hell. Well, we already are in hell. You know, I'm not trying to say you're gonna go into some pit with fire. No, that's not what it is. But you're gonna continue living this manner. The thing is that you got to understand that for Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, that what you said, I don't want to hate my family. The problem with us is that we've been giving more love to the other nations than we have been giving to our own people. And like you said, your wife is Puerto Rican, then you have to understand that you got to start to love your Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. You got to start to love the Puerto Rican family first, because Puerto Rico right now, Boricua, is under attack. They're being gentrified. They're being destroyed. And don't nobody care about Puerto Rico. The Haitian people are being destroyed. And don't nobody care about Haitian people. You know what I'm saying? Our Mexican brothers and sisters are in cages. And don't nobody care about our Native American, our Hispanic brothers and sisters. Our Black brothers are being killed on the street. But yet we want to show all the love and pause real quick and say, but I love my white family. Everybody loves the white family, man. Everybody loves white folks. That's the bottom line. But who's
Right.
going to give love to our people?
Right.
I'll tell you, we got to give love to our people.
Right.
Because if a brother like me begins to love my people, then other brothers begin to love my people also. And if I can teach another brother to love his people, then that's the chain that breaks, right? That ignorance that was once there. And we begin to love our people. Man, your white family, man, they're going to love themselves, man. They're going to be all right. Like my brother Malakma said, man, they're going to be all right. They're always all right in America. We're the ones who are not all right in America. We're the ones who are suffering, and our brothers and sisters are suffering in America. You asked about the Messiah. The Messiah only loved his people.
Right.
The Messiah had brothers. Christ had brothers. He had a mother. And there's a precept, if somebody can find it, where Christ's mother goes to see Christ when he's speaking. But you know what? The multitude got there before Christ's mother and brother went to see him. Do you know why that happened? Because when Christ was going to speak, everybody else went to see him early in the morning. The multitude, it says, went to see Christ. Somebody got that precept? Read it real quick. Let's read this. Let's read this precept real quick. Go ahead and read about this.
So let me see what scripture. I'm trying to figure out where I should
so just say where the multitude came to see Christ.
All right, come on. This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, and verse 32. And the multitude sat about him, and they said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren without seek for thee.
Now listen, they were sitting in front of Christ. And some of them said, hey, your mother and your brothers are looking for you. Wait a minute. What do you mean they're looking for you? And why are they way out there in the back? You know, when you have kids, right, and they're going to have like some kind of play at school, man, you want to get there early because you want to get in the front seat because you want to be able to go out there and see your son perform. So how are you going to get there? You got to get there early because you got to make sure that you get a good seat. But what happened?
Verse 33, and he answered them, saying, Who is my mother or my brethren? Verse 34, and he looked round about on them which sat about him, and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. Verse 35, for whosoever shall do the will of the Most High, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother.
There you go. So I'll tell you what really happened. What happened is that Mary and her brothers got there late. They didn't get there early. They got there real late. And so Christ is like, where is my, I'll guarantee you that if his mom was sitting right in front of him, he would have said, just like my mother, all these are my brothers, all these are my sisters, but they didn't get there in time. They were out on the outskirts looking for, trying to get in. You know why? Because they didn't really believe Christ was the Christ. They still doubted that Christ was really who he said he was. Even though Mary knew, right? He made miracles. Like she lived with him. But even though they had doubts, their brothers had doubts. That's why you don't see a lot of story about his brothers in the Bible. But here it is. You're saying that your family, but what is the Bible saying? Man, these are your brothers. These are your sisters, those that follow Christ. If you're really of a Native American Indian background, we're your brothers. We're your family. We're the ones you should be with. You should be separating from your worldly family and coming into the family that loves Christ, that loves God, that's going to serve the Most High, because we're a family. We become a family. We become strong. And even though we go through little issues, or we have differences, or we have to get counsel, or we got to talk to each other sometimes, or, you know, call on your brother and talk to your brother, even though we go through that, understand that that's what brothers go through. That's what family goes through. And we're your family. My family, you know, I got a family, carnal, but let me tell you something. This is my first family here. I visit my family on and off. I'm kind of separated a little bit because they don't believe in this. They don't They don't want to follow Christ. They want to be Catholic. They want to be Christian. And I cannot be Christian. I cannot be Catholic because I serve the Lord. That's who I serve. So I can't do that. Somebody wanted to jump in? Go ahead.
Salagi, sir, if I could real quick. If I could, Salagi, I just want to say it because he said, I should hate my white mother, offer her up to slavery. That's not honoring her. First off, we're not telling you to do anything to your white side of the family.
Right.
What we're telling you to do is to show that love. You know, you see how you was quick to come to the defense of your white side of the family.
Right.
What about your indigenous side of the family, your Native American side, your Cuban side? Right. And all the hatred that they get from your white side of the family, from the white, that's who you should be, you know, worrying about. Love your white mom. Love her. Be the best son you can be to her. I'm assuming you're a man, so show her love. I'm not telling you to spit in your mama's face. I'm not telling you to call her, names and mistreat her.
Right.
But when it comes to you, and it looks like you got some zeal because you went and got with a Puerto Rican woman. You didn't go get with a white woman. So you had some zeal in that sense. So that's what you do. We bring this out all the time because we got brothers in here that have, white mothers, but, their father is an Israelite. And they love their moms, but they know that they got to love an Israelite. They got to get with an Israelite woman. They got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They got to embrace their father's side of the family, his culture, and not their mother's culture. So that's what you do. That's how, you know what I mean? Now, you go ahead, love your mom, be the best son you can be to her, take care of her, do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, remember that you're an Israelite and you're not white. There's no such thing as mixed, which is the problem that we have here in America. We believe this whole myth of being mixed blood and that we all got this random, ancestry of mixed white, European, African, all that, all in one. When all of that is nonsense. It's a lie. Your lineage comes from your father. So whatever your father is, that's what you are. And if your father's an Israelite, you're an Israelite. If he's black, you're black. If he's Native American, you're Native American. If he's Mexican, you're Mexican. Right. That's your identity.
Hey, it's very simple. You're either Israelite or you're not.
Right.
That's the only thing that you need to know. You're either Israelite or you're not. And like my brother Malagma said, we're not telling you to hate nobody. You're not going to hate your mom. Your mom is your mom. There's, like he said, man, we got brothers in the truth that their moms is white. Okay, well, you know what? Honor your mom. Honor your father. On the contrary, your mom, as soon as you tell her I'm an Israelite, your mom should show you more love than any of your brothers. Your mom should show you so much love and understand that she's got a special son. And that love that you give her, man, it should be turned around and she should be giving you 10 times that love to you because you're God's chosen people, because you come from the bloodline of an ancestor who is an Israelite. So really, instead of you trying to defend the love of your mom should be defending you as an Israelite and honoring you as an Israelite. And real quick, before I let Baraka Yala come on, you went to a camp, Guerrilla Hebrew, because you went to some fake Israelite group to get instruction, and that just goes to show you how bad it is when you're out there looking for false prophets, for false camps, for false people. You end up with these people like Guerrilla Hebrew, right, who tell you that, what did he say? If someone killed her, she wouldn't care. Man, we wouldn't say that to you. We would say, man, take care of your moms, man. That's your moms. You got to have love for your mom. But you know what? Honor your brothers, yourself first, and let your mom honor you. You went to Guerrilla Hebrew. We ain't Guerrilla Hebrew. We ain't Sakari. We the ISUPK.
Right.
They're the toe that fell off of ISUPK. They're that rotten nail that fell off the ISUPK. What is that? What is that stuff that comes on the nail?
The toe jam?
The fungus. They were the fungus on the toe that fell off and then went and grew to become big fungus. And you went to get instruction from them. We ain't those people, man. Commanding General Yohana started what you understand as being Hebrew Israelite. That's why we're here. Go ahead, Baraka Yala Salakia.
Salakia, y'all pretty much said everything I wanted to say. I wanted to touch on as well. This is what we're talking about. You went to see Guerrilla Hebrew. Hey, One thing I'm gonna tell you, if you're actually a brother, because it seems like you are, watch Cross the Line Radio every
Right.
Thursday. You understand? From 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You understand? Go ask a question, ask anything you want by Gorilla Hebrew. You understand? You're gonna get your answers. You're gonna understand. Just like Officer 5000 Kazakit said, you went to see one of those fake Israelites. The ISUPK is not a camp. We are
Right.
the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We are the home of the truth. You understand? And what you could do is get into class, go to isupk.com, right? Look for the number of your zone. You said your grandfather's in Washington, tell him to call the Washington school. He's on a reservation, tell him to call ISPK reservation. We're worldwide. You understand? We're not like these fake Israelite groups out there. We're not. The ISPK is not affiliated with any
Damn
other
right.
Israelite
Goddamn
group.
right.
You understand? Camps. They're just Christian. They're Christian with a Magan Dawadah. That's what it is.
Salakia, Barakia. A lot of them don't believe in the Magan Dawadah. They think it's the Star Moloch.
Right. Hey, you know, this brother had said, so should I hate my white mother, offer her up to slavery? Let me tell you, brother, you need to jump into the ISUPK and earn your place and earn your crown so that you may be a king up there, so that the Lord may have mercy on you, and maybe he gives you your mom as a slave for you so that you can take care of your mom in some manner, and that some other brother don't get her, because if some other brother gets her, man, let me tell you, man, they committed a lot of crimes against Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And a lot of white people got what's coming to them, man. Man, if you know the history of Black and Hispanic and Native American Indians and the atrocities that were committed at them, man, there's a lot of white people who are going to suffer 10 times what they made them suffer. And I don't even think anybody can do such, such atrocities as they heartless people did,
Right.
But maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to find a way to you really love your mom, then save your mom. Save your mom from a brother who will not have mercy on your mom. You got family members that you love, white family members. You really love them. Well, Kanal, you need to come in and you know what? Jump on it, because hey, man, they might end up in some priest hand, and that priest is not gonna have a light hand. You know what I'm saying? So I recommend you,
if I could, sir,
take initiation and get in there.
If I could, just real quick. I was say we're not offering up anybody to anything, man. We wake we over here to wake our people up, man. Now, how God is gonna deal with the Edomites is how God's gonna deal with them. The only thing we're telling Black, Brown, Black and Brown people, Rasa, First Nations, Indigenous people, is to separate from the oppressor.
God.
Show that love to your brothers and sisters, because you're too busy to love white people. You hate your brothers and sisters. That's our message, man. I mean, I don't know what this whole offering up, the guy, like where they get that from, man. The only thing I'm gonna tell you is just separate and let them have their culture, and you embrace your father's culture. Like your white mom. Go ahead, sir. Salaki.
No, go ahead, finish.
I was gonna say this the whole point. You got a white mom, no sweat. Show your mama some love. Love her, be the best son you can be to her. But you can't bring your mother up in here in the UPK. Right. You can't bring her to the Passover. You can't bring her to any of the high holy days or bring her to class. She's not going to want to, and if you love her, you're not going to want to, you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to want to hear none of that, man. That's not, because that's not for her. That's for you.
Let her mom show love. Let her donate money to the ISUPK to help lift up and, do something for Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And the ISUPK, man, you ain't giving, look at, when white people gave white money to white other people, like Hillary Clinton, what they did was spend that money on riches instead of giving it to the Haitian people who needed it. When white people gave money to help Puerto Rico, they didn't give it to Puerto Rico. They used that money for their own benefit. They don't help nobody. They destroy, man. When you give money to the ISUPK, we help build more schools. We help feed our Black, Hispanic, Native American Indian brothers. We're out here helping to push this issue. We're out here to help Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians get out of this thing that they're in. So the best thing your mom can do is the way you feel about her. And here is the test for this brother right here. Here's the test for your mom. Tell your mom about this and tell her you're going to become an Israelite and tell her about the Bible. You already know, and see how she reacts. If she reacts and says, you know what, son, you absolutely right. And you know what, man, and puts you on a pedestal, then you'll understand that your mom understands you. But you know what? Most likely, your mom is not going to do that.
Right.
Your mom is going to tell you crazy. Your mom is going to tell you listening to a bunch of niggas and that you in Mexicans and strips and that you in the wrong place. And she's going to tell you to still be a Catholic. Being a Catholic, brother, you know how much they rape children, have committed atrocity just to be part of an organization that has been so wicked is bad. Like, why would you want to be a Nazi knowing all the things they've done? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be American because I know of all the atrocities they've done. To me, it's like, brother, I do not want to be associated with anything that would have to do with those kind of atrocities committed on children, on elderly, on men and women. Why would I want to even be part of that? That's ignorance that we're talking about.
Right.
You want to attach yourself to something so wicked. Christianity, Catholicism, Nazism, all these things are things that, man, I wouldn't even want to participate in that. Listen, I come into the ISUPK because they think the way I think. We're like-minded. We are the same. Commanding General Yohana, General Mahaiman, all the generals, General Hazian, man, when they speak to you, they speak sense. Like, they speak sense to me. Like, I can understand exactly what they're talking about. But when a Catholic priest or a Christian comes to me and I look at them, I'm like, well, doesn't your organization make billions of dollars? So how come they didn't help the Hispanic people that were in cages? How come they didn't rally up and show the thousands of Catholic, thousands of Christians and help those children? How come they haven't rallied up to help the Native American Indians? How come they haven't rallied up to help the Black people that are living in poverty? How come they haven't done that? Blacks and Hispanics, canal, went and fought World War II, went and fought Vietnam, went and fought the Korean War, went and fought Iraq. And we still came to America to live in the ghettos and the barrios and the housing projects. We never have gotten out of the situation, and we fought for the freedom that we have never received. So why would I want to be American, part of a nation that doesn't care about me? So once again, go and talk to your mom and see if she agrees with you being an Israelite. And that'll tell you exactly what kind of spirit those folks have. Go ahead, Barak Ayala.
Salakia, if I may, I want real quick. First of all, if you're not in the ICPK, you're definitely not following the laws and commandments of the Most High, because you're separating yourself from your own people when we have to gather together. It's talking about honoring your mom, literally is to follow the laws and commandments of the Most High. That's how you honor your parents. That's first of all, you understand? Second, like I said more than once, go into ISPK.com, look up your zone, call in the numbers. You understand? One more thing is that you say you come from Sakari. Guess what? Sakari are in strip clubs, throwing dollar signs at rules. You understand? Claiming to have the truth. They're not in the truth. You understand? They promote whoring. They promote prostitution. We're never gonna do that. You're never gonna see the UPK in the club throwing dollar signs at our sisters who are on stripper poles. You understand? All these other camps who claim to be coming from the ISUPK, they left the truth. Just like Officer Kazaki had said, they're a fungus that needed to be cut off. It's not even that we cut them off. It's that they cut themselves off.
God.
It's that they want to separate. While Commanding General Yohana been giving the order to gather together, but they want to separate themselves. Sakari wants to be in strip clubs, giving dollar signs to our sisters for promoting whoredom. GMS wants to be raping little girls. You understand? IUIC wants to be mixing with Africans. Then next thing you know, our sisters are being killed. You understand? Exactly. Sakari celebrate biblical feasts in strip clubs. Make it make sense.
Right.
Gone. And with that, let me tell you something. I'm gonna go in deeper because we got one more segment to jump in real quick before the end of the show, and that is that. Let me tell you that I'm glad this brother jumped on because it's just gonna help the show to get a little bit more interesting. Because America, even though we want to be part of America, America doesn't see us as Americans. Even though, like I said, we Latin America, South America, all this America. We part the islands are America, supposedly, right? We all Americans, but they don't see us as Americans. And I'm going to show you how they don't see us as Americans. You got this problem with fentanyl across America. Fentanyl is killing America. I don't know if y'all have seen how bad fentanyl is in America. San Francisco is like a zombie land. What is that? Detroit, right? What else? Philadelphia, Philly. Man, it's like zombie land when it comes to the drug addiction to fentanyl. But yet the Asians are the ones bringing in fentanyl they're the ones producing mass amounts of fentanyl, right? And yet they'll call us Mexicans drug dealers. They don't want us here. They want us to, they're trying to deport every Mexican. They give us like worse than 3 strikes. They're just trying to find a way to throw us out. You know what I'm saying? But yet these Asians, they don't have detention centers for Asians. They got detention centers for Salvadoreños, Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? They got detention centers for us, but they do not have detention centers for these people. And these people are producing a drug I'm going to tell you something, man, people don't realize, but it's kind of like as if China has found a way to wage a war on America and kill Americans by introducing drugs to them. Because you know how America has a think tank, so does China have a think tank. And they have noticed that Americans love to get high. And so they've decided to send fentanyl, a drug worse than heroin, into America. And they know how much Americans love to get high. And they got America high as hell. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. Mexicans, they were producing like if you've noticed, the biggest users of fentanyl are white folks. That's who's using fentanyl. They're the biggest users of fentanyl is white folks. They love fentanyl. Man, the raves, the ecstasy, all these things, man, they love this drug. And now China is producing fentanyl for children. Catch this. They're producing fentanyl for children because, and it's funny how it just started here in Halloween, right? And they're bringing this into America. They're bringing in candy-colored fentanyl for Halloween, for your kids, for them to become addicted to this right here. What do those look like? Those look like sweet tarts, right? They look like, what is that? All these little rainbow colors, you know what I'm saying? Here is your fentanyl. Here is your drug that's going to kill America. And you know what the problem is? That America is not blaming China for this. America is blaming Mexicans for this. America is saying Mexicans are producing fentanyl, that Mexico is sending that drug to America. But they're not saying China is. You know why? Because America is afraid of China. Because America is afraid of China, afraid of Russia, afraid of those nations. But Mexicans, we're here. So they'll attack us right away. And this is what they're bringing into your country. This Halloween, for this brother that's on here, the one we're talking to, if your kids celebrate Halloween, you better know that when you send them out, they're going to come back with these kind of candies. You better know that your children are in danger of poisoning themselves with fentanyl. This Halloween, this Christmas, these holidays, this is what's being pushed into your communities. Oh, yeah, he got it right. Smarties, man, he knows what it is. These Smarties, these candies, man, send your children out. You know what? The Lord hates your holidays. What does he say? He'd say,
I hate and despise your feast days.
He despises your feast days, your solemn smell or something like that.
Your solemn assemblies.
Solemn assemblies. The Lord
He will,
hates these days.
he will not smile at them or something like that. I will not smile at your solemn assemblies.
Exactly. The Lord hates your days. And you know what? And everything that happens, the Lord creates. The Lord created this nation, right, to come against America. That's how the Lord is going to destroy America. He's going to bring these nations against him. What is that? It's raining? Oh, Salakia. Hey,
if I could, sir.
Yeah, Salakia. The water. I don't even know where my keys are. It's raining outside like crazy.
Damn. Is it?
I was like, what's that? And it's raining like crazy.
Salakia, sir, if I could. Wow. You know, I'm going to say that a lot of, you know, we all know brothers and sisters who have died from fentanyl overdoses. And that the way that you can, you know, end that, right, is by showing that love to your brothers and sisters. That's why that's important that we show love to them, that we come together with our people so that we can, you know, start fixing that plagues. Because a lot of times our people want to use fentanyl. They want, because, you know, they want to get high and party because they're trying to escape. They're trying to escape, you know, the horrible reality that we live in, whatever it is that we deal with in our everyday lives, man, which is this oppression that America gives us, you know. So that's what we got to do. We had to, you know, we got to show that love and build each other up and separate our culture from America, man, and stop embracing and participating in their culture, what they do and what they practice. Because that whole taking drugs, getting high, that's America's culture, man. That's what they put throughout, you know, every day on their TV shows and everything. They always project, you know, go party, get high, get drunk, sleep around, have multiple sex partners. You know what I mean? That's why you got the fentanyl crisis. You got the opioid crisis. You got monkeypox, all the STIs and everything happen because we want to live like these oppressors, man. We want to live how they live. They want to go out and sleep with everything and fulfill every single lust that their flesh desires. You know what I mean? So that's what we need to do, is to separate our spirit from America's culture, from the white man's culture, because that's what that is. But go ahead. I'll pass it to the next priest. Hey, Shalom, I don't want you to share bakata.
Yeah. Salake, if I may.
Go ahead.
It's like I said at the beginning of the show, right? In Canada, we're celebrating Thanksgiving. Next thing you know, brothers are getting shot left and right. You understand? Right now, they have fentanyl looking like Smarties, Skittles, or even Rockets candies. You understand? And Halloween is coming up. Next thing you know, you're going to have children overdosing. You understand? And it ties into the question that the brother is asking, talking about breaking down Amos chapter 5, verse 21. But I'm going to read it real quick. And it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Now, that he was asking if he was talking to Israel. He was talking to Israel, but those feast days were not the feast days of Israel, because the feast days of Israel are the feast days of the Most High, that the Most High gave us. You understand? Those feast days that he's talking about in Amos 5 and 21 is the feast days of men, the feast days of the nations that were round about, that were following, right? Just like birthdays, Thanksgiving, Halloween that's coming up. That's what we should not celebrate. That's why, like Officer Malakma said, we need to separate from these goddamn oppressors. You understand? Otherwise, just like what happened in my zone today, brothers are going to drop like flies. They're going to be served a plate of bullets, a plate of lead. You understand? That's what's going to happen. And the ISPK, what we're trying to do, we're trying to save all of our brothers and sisters. You understand? We're trying to prevent them from dying. That's what we're trying to do. Again, but I'm telling you again, ISPK.com, look for a number in your zone. Call up. We have Crossline Radio on Thursdays, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. You understand? Come and ask your questions. What you could do is tune into class. You understand? Stop following after these fake camps, these Christian Israelites. You understand? Get into class. Come home. Let's gather together, just like Zephaniah 2:1 said. You understand?
Let me go into that right there that you're talking about, and I'll kind of explain to the brother why the Lord said that in that precept about the holidays in Israel. It's very simple, because if you understand the history of Israel, what happened to our people, that we began to go into other nations. We became Greeks, we became Romans. Well, even Paul, you know, if you look at in the book, Paul says, I am a Roman citizen, but I am an Israelite, right? The son of Abraham, some of this, you know, so paraphrasing. So he even he went into into the Roman era, and he became a Roman. At some point, Paul was celebrating Roman holidays. He was doing as the Romans. What does that phrase say? When in Rome, do as the Romans. Well, that's what happened in Israel. Israel was going into Greece, and they became Greeks. They were celebrating their holidays. You can even they would. Well, I was going to go into, when you look at what is that Judas Maccabees. What happened with Judas Maccabees? Judas Maccabees was mad because the Israelites were setting up altars and celebrating the holidays of the Greeks. And so what did Judas do? Judas and his sons was even smiting or killing Israelites for celebrating those holidays.
Sacrificing pigs in the temple.
Sacrificing pigs on the temples. And so that's why the Lord said, man, I hate your feast days, because they weren't the feast days of Israel. They were celebrating the days of the heathens. They were celebrating Christmas. They were celebrating Thanksgiving. They were celebrating these holidays that were not our holidays. So in that precept that you're reading, brother, he's actually going against the holidays that the Israelites began to celebrate that were not Israelite holidays. The Lord has set holidays for us. We just had one yesterday. The Lord has set holidays for us that we have to abide by. But we're so wicked that we're going to celebrate Christmas, that we're going to celebrate Halloween, that we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving, New Year's, right? Valentine's Day. And these are not our holidays. These are the holidays these people have. And so those are the holidays that the Lord abhors, that he hates, that he does not want us to participate in. Salaki, go ahead, Baraga.
We're so wicked that we're going to celebrate Christmas.
What is that we're hearing?
Here's some feedback.
Okay, we're getting some feedback. Well, anyway, so let me continue. So when you ask about these holidays, these are the holidays that are being talked about in the Bible. He's talking about those feast days. Taught inquiry. I can get that. I've heard that. Yeah. So Thawada for saying that. But yeah, you know, you can understand that these are the holidays, and the Lord doesn't celebrate these holidays. The Lord wants you to stay away. And so, bringing it to our time, you should understand the reason why we're here today is very simple, man. I'm telling you that to celebrate Halloween is gonna have its consequences. You're gonna die for celebrating Halloween. Man, your children are going to die for going out there on Halloween and asking for candy, because a wicked America is finding a way to destroy your children. And the other nations are at war with each other. So what are they doing? They sending this right here to your children. That's what's being sent to your children. This is what your children are going to go trick or treat. Come on, man. Am I lying? How many times have they told you, make sure that you check your children's candies before they eat it? Because they got
if I could.
Go ahead.
How many children and people are you think are gonna go missing on Halloween night?
Right.
I mean, all the Jeffrey Dahmers and John Wayne Gacy's are out there. That's what, you know, that's their time to go out and do what they're gonna do. So that's the other sad reality of it.
Right, but
that serial killer.
Yeah, but the reality of it is that you know, real time, man, you know, every Halloween, the hospital is full of children who took poison, who got razor blades in their candy, who got, some kind of ailment from being out there, who got shot, who got stabbed, who got robbed, snatched for their candies and beaten. These are the kind of
Right.
things that Halloween brings to your children. You think it's fun, it's this and that, but it's not. There's a consequence for doing these things. You know what I'm saying? How about Thanksgiving? We all know what it's like. You gather the family, and you got that family that just hates each other, carnal. You gathered at the table, and you thinking you celebrating Halloween, Thanksgiving, and you got the uncle against the other uncle, the brother against the other brother. Here comes the argument. Here comes this. Here comes the drunk uncle and the drunk this, and all of a sudden it's just like, it's not right. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord doesn't love these holidays, man. You got to come to the Lord's holidays so that it may be a peaceful thing, because when we're celebrating, not our days, we ain't celebrating our day. We're celebrating the Lord's day. The days that the Lord has set apart for us, and they should be peaceful. They should be something we come together for. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at stuff like that, when you look at, like, right now, man, this is how wicked America is. America is showing these Jeffrey Dahmer movies, and they're number one on Netflix. And America knows how many people are copycats. Right. And later on, we'll begin to kill people just because they get that whole trip of being a Jeffrey Dahmer. Today, man, that's what it really is. You know what I mean? It's a wicked spell that's going out through your TV and going into people's spirits and minds and souls and causing them to do the same goddamn thing. Man, there's only one way out. And that's the ISUPK, and coming here into this truth and being part of something that's going to change who you are. And in return, you're going to change the people that you love.
Right.
And you're going to be the change that everybody's looking for. And this is where it makes a difference. Nothing else comes even close. You're either here or you're going to be out there. And out there, man, you already know how it is. Go ahead, Malakma.
Allow you, sir. That's heavy you say that, because it's like out there is really death. Outside the ISUBK is nothing but death, man. That's why that song by Pac, I see death around the corner. That's basically what it is. And right, you look at Jeffrey Dahmer's victims. Majority of them were black and brown. Majority, you know what I mean? Like I said, there's a serial killer up north. You know what I mean? So it's like our people are being targeted left and right by these oppressors, by these colonizers, by the so-called white man. You know what I mean? And when we engage in gang violence, when we sell drugs, when we show that hatred to one another, it's because we that's the hatred that's been implanted in us at the hands of the so-called white man, at the hands of America. That's why we don't have that protection. We don't have leadership right now. And I even using that term, we don't have leaders that watch our back as a people, right? Because we're too busy trying to live the American dream. We're trying to engage in America's lifestyle. And yeah, right. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Dahmer show is number one right now. Think about it. Is it a coincidence that it's number one right now and majority of his victims were black and brown? Because who do you think majority of the viewers are? Majority of the viewers are, so that's your average everyday, white America. They're the ones viewing that show. They love that stuff, man. How many documentaries have there been about Jeffrey Dahmer, man? There's a gang of them. Same thing about John Wayne Gacy. I'm sure Ted Bundy, every notorious serial killer. There's a gang of shows and movies and everything reenacting it. Who buys it and buys into it is them. You know what I mean? Why do you think they came out with a movie called, what's it called? The Purge. You know what I mean? That's the lust that these oppressors have always had. You know what I mean? That's what they want to do. They want to, why you think these white boys are going out, putting, attaching a GoPro to themselves and going up and shooting up black and brown people in the supermarkets, live streaming it? Because to them, this is it, man. That's their thrill. That's their hunt. What it say about Esau? He was a cunning hunter. You know what I mean? Like that's what these oppressors want to do. They want to hunt us, man. What's it say in Lamentations, right? They hunt our steps. That's what they want. They want to murder us, man. That it's in their nature to want to do that to us. That's why you have these cases going on. And I say that, and this is why we say that the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, because they'll call us super predators. They'll call us criminals. They'll call us rapists. Meanwhile, when you look at the stats, when you look at their history, they're the rapists. They're the criminals. They're the super predators. But they want to portray black and brown men as that. You know what I mean? They want to portray black and brown men as helpless and weak, as sodomites. You know what I mean? That's how they want us to look and be. You know what I mean? So that they can keep, having their way with us, hunting us down, keep their foot on our neck. You know what I mean?
Con,
Salaki,
con.
I'll pass the floor. I'll give it to the next, please. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Baraki Yala.
Yeah, Salak, just like Officer Malak. Really, Salak, can y'all hear me?
Khan.
Con.
Right, just like Officer Malakma said, this really what they fantasize on. You understand? It's like, okay, historically speaking, the Caucasian man has been Jeffrey Dahmer before Jeffrey Dahmer was even born.
Salaki, he was the original Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right, Salakia. He's the OG Dahmer. You understand? Salakia.
Right.
It's like they're watching it, like they're really watching it and thinking like, hey, the good old days where we could just violate black and Hispanic people and just cook them up and eat them up and then whatever nasty stuff they were doing to us. You're just watching like, hey, the good old days, because it's not like they could do the same thing in mass right now. It would be a scandal because it would show their true nature. You understand? Right now they're trying to portray Jeffrey Dahmer and all these serial killers, or you understand, those sodomites, as their anomalies, when they're just really they're Caucasian. That's how they act. That's how they are.
Salaki Baraki Allah, real quick, priest. What was Trump saying when he was running for president? He said, "I like the good old days." He wanted.
Right.
Go ahead, Salaki. Say he liked the good old days.
Salaki, the good old days.
Right.
We were on the grill. We were the barbecue. That's that's the good old days Trump is talking about.
Right.
You understand? The good old days, it would be easy just to grab any nigger in the street and just to hang him up on a tree. You understand? That's the good old days for them.
Right.
But also, not only because of Martin Luther King, but because of Christianity and how destroyed we are, we're thinking like not all white people are the same or this and that. But it's not because they don't say it out loud like Donald Trump that they're not thinking it. You understand? Because once you move right next to a Caucasian person or in a Caucasian neighborhood, it's like, you're affecting them. It's like you destroyed your life because you move right next to them. Let's say you get to move to Salaki. You get to move in Beverly Hills, for instance. They're gonna see Officer Malakma like, yo, what is this beater doing here? What's going on?
Right.
You understand? You're like, what is this Spanish-speaking nigger doing here? You understand? It's like it's getting too dark. It's not shining as bright in the neighborhood no more. It's getting dark now. That's what they're gonna say. But us, it's like the way they're profiling us, or the way you see, like I just said, if the officers Malakma moves into Beverly Hills, that's how we should act toward the Caucasian men, to prevent more Jeffrey Dahmers, and to prevent more Dylan Roofs shooting up a church, then going to Burger King. What's the name there? To prevent, I think, Peyton Gendron or Gendron, whatever his name is, shooting up a grocery store. Because we think that we don't need to act like the oppressor. You understand? Let's not be as bad as they were because we're better than them. The thing is, we need to understand that, right? We're not gonna act like the oppressor, especially when we get the kingdom. We will never be like the oppressor. We're not gonna rape. We're gonna rape their wives, molest their children. You understand? We're gonna make them keep the law. The thing is, we need to profile them just like they're profiling us. Because a lot of time they're profiling us. I mean, they're not even catching the brothers and sisters in drugs. They're not. because they know who sell drugs. They know who have guns and everything. You understand? They're profiling the. I mean, it's never right to profile a brother, right? But they're profiling brothers like Tamir Rice, 13-year-old. You understand? They snatching up kids like Emmett Till. You understand? I'm not saying they should go and snatch up the little the 13-year-olds stolen real guns, but I'm saying they're snatching innocent victims, and they know what they're doing. Because for them, just like they say, oh, the Asian men all look the same. For them, we all look the same.
Right.
They don't care. You understand? When it comes to killing us, they don't discriminate. When it comes to putting handcuffs on us, they don't care. They're not gonna discriminate.
Right.
Everybody's the same. All Mexicans are rapists. All Mexicans are gangbangers. You understand? They're not watching Sueno, Norteño, 13, 18. Nah. Y'all are beaners. That's it. And we're all niggers. You understand? They don't care. And that's how we need to see the white man. We need to be like, okay, all white men could be serial killers. They could all be school shooters. We need to watch our communities. You understand? Because next thing you know, we let another Jeffrey Dahmer in. So, like, as a matter of fact, first of all, don't even be a sodomite. There wouldn't be no Jeffrey Dahmer in the first place.
Right.
To snatch you up. You understand? That's one factor. If these brothers were not sodomites, Jeffrey Dahmer would have left them alone.
Right.
That's one thing. Second, it's like that lady over there, she was portrayed as a sister in his building, talking about there's nothing wrong about him being a sodomite, this and that, but he's just weird. I mean, damn right he's weird. He's Caucasian. You understand? It's not even that he was a sodomite. He didn't even have to be a sodomite. He could have still been a serial killer.
Right.
He could have snatched up kids. You understand? It don't matter, sodomite or not. The thing is that he's an oppressor. And all these oppressors are Salakia. They're disgusting. They live a sinful lifestyle. You understand? They all go against the Most High. Regardless, it could be he could have been Chinese. I mean, the Caucasian man is the worst oppressor on the earth. But it could be any other nation. You understand?
So, so let me go into what he's talking about real quick, because he said you got time tonight. Talk about what ISUPK teaches about the Messiah. Let me tell you something. What you're hearing is what the Messiah teaches. He teaches us to separate from our oppressor. He teaches us to separate from the other nations. That's exactly what we're talking about. The whole Bible is about Israel separating themselves from all nations and being holy. The word holy means to be separate. That's why it's called the Holy Bible and a holy people, because the Lord has asked us to separate from all the nations. And what the brother Barak Ayala is talking about, this Jeffrey Dahmer and the way he is, Jeffrey Dahmer is just a one person who has all the characteristics of what these nations are like when it comes to Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. Like, this man holds the characteristics of what they see from us, and it's death, it's murder, it's all that. That's the way they see us. And this man, we don't have to talk about all of them, because this one man fits the description of all of them. And Christ knew that. And that's why Christ, throughout the whole Bible, he speaks about, separating. You want to know what the Messiah teaches? The Messiah taught, go and find the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
The Messiah teaches, go out, but don't go into what? Don't go into, what does it say? Go out, but don't go out to the other nations.
To the Gentiles.
What is that?
To the Gentiles.
Do not go out to the Gentiles. Exactly. The Lord told the apostles, go out and bring back Israel, but don't go to the Gentiles. Don't go but unto the lost house of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Paul's like, you know what? Just go get our people. The whole Bible, Judas Maccabees talked about, you know, only Israel. Moses only spoke to Israel, right? Only to Israel. Christ only, how could I say it? Only hung out or was with Israel. They didn't go nowhere else. So the whole Bible and what you're asking, right? The Bible and the Messiah, their whole thing in the Bible is for us to come together, for us to come together as a nation, and for us to come in here and serve the Lord by calling our people back. In other words, we're the new apostles. We're the ones who have to go out and bring our people back. You know what I mean? This is not about anything else but that. This is what it's all about. It's about bringing back our people. And if you want to know what the Messiah did, that's exactly what the Messiah did. The Messiah, all he did was tell the apostles, go and bring our people. And once again, I'll prove it to you, because in the book of Revelations, which is the last book, the kingdom is made with only 12 doors, 12 gates, and the 12 gates have the 12 names of the house of Israel. So that should break it down to exactly what it is. This is all that it's about. It's not about any other nation. We're not, you know, people are, oh, you're racist, you're this. I guess you want to call me racist because I love my own people. You want to hate, not about hating, it's about loving what the Lord loves, loving what Christ loved. We serve God, we serve Christ. Whatever the Bible says, that's what we're going to do. And once again, the Lord said, go only unto Israel and not unto the heathens or not unto any other nation, only unto our people. So we're not taking anything out of context. The problem is your Catholic Church taught you lies. Your Christian church taught you lies. And you know why they taught you lies? Because it's not convenient for you to know that right there. They don't want you to know that you're a special person, that the Lord loves you above everybody else.
So like you, sir,
Christians
good.
don't want you to go there. Go ahead.
Sir, Christ is not God, and we are not Trinitarians in the ISUPK. There's the Most High, and then there's Christ. They're separate people. They're not one being. Christ was not a schizophrenic talking to himself. He was a man just like you and me. He was an Israelite from the tribe. He was a black man, as the Bible describes him. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's not God. And for that purpose, so that we don't come up with the excuse, you know, to say that we can't keep following these laws or anything because, you know, Christ is supernatural, because that's what the church teaches. The church wants Christ to be supernatural so that you can be like him. You know what I mean? He was a brother. He was a man who was born from Joseph impregnating Mary. God did not impregnate Mary. Joseph was his actual father. You know what I mean? So that's all I wanted to touch on. I don't want to say that because, you know, a lot of Christians believe that.
Yeah, and that Trinitarian philosophy is that God impregnated Mary and then had Christ. That's the Trinitarian right there. That's where that come from. A miraculous impregnation from the Holy Ghost. There it is. God, the Holy Ghost, and Christ. That's your Trinitarian. That's not true. Go ahead.
They call it the Immaculate Conception.
Right. Exactly. And that's not a fact. The truth is that Mary and Joseph were having sex, and out of that relationship, Christ came forward. Because if you go into the book of Matthew and you look at the lineage, it says Joseph and it says Christ. He's telling you where he came from. It doesn't say God and Mary. It doesn't say that. It says Joseph and Christ. So that's where it's coming from. Listen, go ahead.
Just to add up real quick on what you just said, and what Officer Malakma said as well, right? Just to show you, there's more than one scripture that's going to show you that Christ is a man and that he is the seed of a man. You understand? God didn't come from no man. Right. You understand? Right. If Christ is God, how is Christ? How do they refer as Christ as Son of Man, Son of David? You understand? Son of Abraham. If he's the son of someone, meaning he descended from, he has a lineage. Understand? He was ancestors descended from a people. Now tell me who did God descend from?
Right.
You understand?
That's heavy, priest. You know what I'm saying? It is like I'll say this: the Bible is not magic, man. Like the Christian church, the made the Bible, black magic, and try
Right.
make it seem like it's not down to it's down to practical. You know what I mean? That's why we're the Israelite school of universal and practical knowledge, and that's the reason why Christ says there's simplicity in Him, man. You know what I mean? When you want to think of all what ifs and all these other things from outside, you want to complicate things when it's simple, man. He was a man just like you and I. He taught us brotherhood and sisterhood, which is the whole point of the Bible. The whole point of the Bible is for us to come together in brotherhood and sisterhood, to love one another. And then it shows us what happens when we don't, when we separate and we want to take on these other cultures. That's why we hate on each other. That's why we don't have that brotherhood and sisterhood. Because like I said, we want to be Americans instead of being Israelites.
Kawaka.
You want to be Mexican American instead of being raza, instead of being an Israelite, man. And that's why you'll hate your brown brother, man. You'll hate that Mexican man. You know what I mean? Because you want to be Mexican American, and hence you rather love the white man than your brown brother, man.
Okay, all right. And real quick, that question is Christ our Lord. Well, let me tell you, the word Lord is what's in play here. You're asking, is Christ our Lord? Yeah, but what does the word Lord means?
Right.
If you're in a Christian church or a Catholic church, when they say Lord, you think they mean God, because that's what they see Lord as. You think Lord is God. Well, let me tell you, you said you're married to a Puerto Rican woman where you're that woman's Lord. That's what you are. Right. That woman, you're her Lord. Because the word Lord only means like a master or a teacher or someone in charge or someone above, and that's your Lord. The English knew that. They would call each other my Lord. They would say my Lord, my Lord. They were using that word correctly. They were using the word as Lord as someone who was in charge. You were given the word Lord in a different manner, where you thought the word Lord means God, and you're using that in that term, but that's not the terminology. Once again, terminology comes into play here. You've lost the meaning of words, and you're thinking words mean something that they don't. Is Christ our Lord? Yes, He is our Lord. He is the master of everything that's been left. We serve Christ. We serve God Almighty. God is above Christ, right? Because even Christ says, no one knows the day or the hour, only my Father that is in heaven. So that's showing you that Christ and God are two different people, right? And so Christ sits on the side of God, of the Lord, of the Most High. And I'm going to use his correct name, Yahweh. He sits on the side of Yahweh. So that is a different thing. You know what I mean? So it's different. But before we go on, we're getting a little late into it. So I'm going to let Barack Ayala go ahead and talk about the whole segment today. And go ahead and say whatever you got to say right now. And go ahead, Barack Ayala.
You know, it's always a pleasure to be here. Tuwada, for having me here. You understand? I know it's getting late over here. It's already like 2 a.m. Salakia, you know. But again, stop celebrating these feast days of the men. You understand? They're not the feast days of the Lord. They're not of the Bible. We should not celebrate no birthdays. Thanksgiving, which is today in Canada. You understand? Halloween coming up. Afterward, what we got so-called Christmas. All these so-called holidays are really pagan worship. You understand? Thanksgiving, which is today in Canada, again, brought death in my neighborhood. You understand? Because we decide to follow after the oppressor. That's what's going on. You understand? And because we decide to follow after the oppressor, we're going to celebrate Halloween, and our kids are going to overdose on fentanyl that's looking like candy. You understand? We need to stop following after these oppressors. That's what we need to do. Separate ourselves from Babylon. Come, I'm just going to paraphrase Revelation 18:4. It says, "Come out of her, my people." You understand? So that we do not partake in her sins, and we don't receive any of her plagues. Stop being a homosexual. You won't get kidnapped and eaten by Jeffrey Dahmer. You won't get no AIDS or monkeypox. You understand? Stop celebrating Halloween. Your kids are not gonna overdose on fentanyl this year. They're not gonna get snatched up by no John Wayne Gacy. You understand? By no so-called killer clown or whatever child
Right.
molester there is out there. You understand? Stop smoking weed, cigarettes. Stop selling drugs. Don't go shoot each other for what? For a block that you don't even own. Next thing you know, the white man buys up the whole block and pushes you out the neighborhood. What was the war about? What was it for then? You understand? Everything that you think you know, try to repeat that in your head and compare it to what the ICPK is bringing out. And make it make sense. You understand? You're going to understand that we are the home of the truth. The Israelites full of universal and practical knowledge. What we bring out, you understand? We have knowledge about everything that's going on around the planet, which is universal. And the knowledge that we're bringing out is practical. And both of these things are biblical. You understand? Just like Zephaniah 2:1 said, let's gather together, O nation not desired. It's talking about so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. You understand? Separate from Babylon and gather together. Because ain't no better thing than the brotherhood that we have in the UPK. Because that is the only brotherhood that you'll find on the face of the earth. You understand? With that said, I'm not gonna hold it too much. I don't want. You could go ahead and
Go ahead, Malakma. Water, Barakayala. Go ahead, Malakma.
And the bar one.
No sweat. I just want to say I don't want that. It's always, an honor going to war with y'all brothers alongside. You know what I mean? And that our job right here is to wake our raza up, man. And the way that our raza is gonna wake up, right, is in learning. First of all, I'm gonna say this: Christ's mission was to teach carnalismo to the raza, right? Christ was a revolutionary leader of his time. He was there to wake up the Israelites in brotherhood and sisterhood. That's why, you know what I mean? And you can't wake up and think you're gonna change things for your people if you don't learn to love your brothers and sisters as yourself. If you don't learn to hate the oppressor, and when I mean hate, I'm just simply saying don't love the oppressor. Don't want to join them, separate from them. Our whole thing is that as a people, right, is that when we hear hate, we automatically assume the hatred that the white man has given us growing up, the racism, the abuse, the lynchings, the murder, the stealing. The white man did that in the name of love for his people. You know what I mean? And that's what we have to understand. We got to love our people and empower our people, and the only way we're going to do that is by loving our brothers and sisters. That's Christ's whole mission was not go sit in a church, not go love and hug the white man and everyone that literally let somebody abuse you. No, Christ's mission was to love your brother as yourself, man. And love means not stealing from your brother, not sleeping with his wife, not telling lies on that brother. Carnalismo. As you're going to see, that's why we say we're the only home of the truth. Because here in the ISUBK, we truly follow Christ. That's our goal, to truly follow Christ. And there's a scripture that says right in the book of John, chapter 13, verse 34 and 35, where he says, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, right? If you love one another as I have loved you.
Khan.
And you see that. That's why nobody. It's like a worldwide phenomenon for everybody to witness the brotherhood and sisterhood here in ISUPK, man. Versus all these other fake camps and breakoff groups. You know what I mean? You see all the scandals and all the drama that goes on with them. And I'm not saying that to boast or anything. I'm showing you the difference. You know what I mean? And we say that because it's the truth. You know what I mean? And there's a brotherhood here in the ISUPK. Here's where it exists. And it's so rare. It's like it doesn't. It's a something you see once. I don't know how to explain it, but it's something rare because it doesn't exist outside of here. So come in here, man. This is the home of the truth. If you want to truly, learn how to change things for your people. You want to, fight for your raza. Come in here in the ISUBK and protect your raza here in the ISUBK under commanding Jonah Yahana. But with that, I'm gonna give the floor to Priest Synopsis Kazakia.
All right, Shalom. Tawada. First of all, Tawada, for coming on the show and being here with me, Barakayala and Malakma, as always. for all the brothers and sisters who jumped on and were watching the show with us, the water for jumping on with us and staying on with us late night. I know we come on kind of late, but the water for jumping on with us. For the brother watching who's having all these questions, well, that's good, man. We all start somewhere. We all start questioning what it's all about. Obviously this brother has some kind of a knowledge towards what being an Israelite is. He's obviously been studying, educated, and knows what this is, because some of the questions he is asking is legit questions. And one thing we do on the show is, we're not here to pressure or criticize anybody. We're here to teach and get you in here so that you might continue, what we're doing, and that's teaching the reality and the truth about what Black Hispanics and Native American Indians are really going through. You know what I mean? So of course we invite you to not only log on, but hit us up on Messenger. Get with your nearest camp. Look to see who's in your neighborhood or in your area, so that you may join the ISUPK. You talked about your family of being white and all that. Well, you know what? Your family, they can participate too. They can donate to the school and help push this process forward. Our idea, our whole thing is to help raise up Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, because we're fulfilling a prophecy. And the prophecy is that in the end, in the land of our captivity, we will wake up and remember who we are and call the Lord by his name. And Judah will wake up first, and then Israel will follow. And the Lord will hear will hear us, and he'll make us a nation once again. So it's inevitable that we're going to become a nation, that we're going to become Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians in one nation called Israel. It's going to happen. And we're the ones who are making it happen. We're here to make a change. What better than to be part of a change that's significant in the lives of our people? We're the new revolutionists. We're the new words that are coming out. We're the old coming back to raise up those that are dead in our time. Now, Most High in Christ, for Commanding General Yohana, General Mahaiman, and all the generals of the ISUPK, the troopers, the officers, and everybody, the sisters who put in work, because it's all of us who are making a difference. We all participated in yesterday's High Holy Day, which is, significant, because before we didn't even realize there was a High Holy Day for us. Now we get together. We definitely went down there, Malakma and I and our families. Right. And we gathered with Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, something I never used to do. And yet it feels good to go and see the brothers and the sisters, and them bringing their food and us taking food and gathering together at our schools and making something different. Man, this is what the Lord wanted from us. And this is what we got to do. I mean, in all honesty and all truth, that this is the place where we need to be. Black, Hispanic, Native American Indians, we should be in the ISUPK, raising soldiers, raising our people, and separating from a nation that historically hates us. And for that brother who jumped on, you should know, if you're Native American Indian, you should know about the boarding schools and all the atrocities that were committed in the schools of the Native American Indians. So there ain't no doubt in our minds that we are in the right spot and we're doing the right thing. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining in. Remember, every Monday, we're right here in ISUPK La Neta under ISUPK Mexico. We invite you to come on. We got a calling number. Any of the brothers who are out there who watch and want to join in, man, this is not only about us. This is all of us can join in. We can all have this moment, every Monday. The water for joining us. Most High in Christ, I want to say to all the brothers and sisters who watch and all of them who join in, man, till next Monday, Shalom Yahweh, Hashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah to the brothers, Shalom Hashim Yahweh Shai to all the sisters, man. And of course, man, check in, follow us. If you want to join the ISUPK, get in black, find a school, get in there, participate, become a soldier. You know what I'm saying? Become a true prophet and priest that the Lord has called for us to be. You know what I mean? American Indian, man, we here for you. Go ahead, Barak Yala.
Nunca olvides, el hombre blanco es el pinche diablo que habla la Biblia.
And with that, shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Raza.
Next week.
Tom.